Hi, my name is Roman Kepczyk, and I'm the Director of Firm Technology Strategy for Right Networks. And I'm here with Joel Hughes, our Chief Executive Officer. Joel, welcome to this conversation.
Nice to be here, Roman.
I know there was a lot of conversation that we've had, leading up to this conference about the change in our profession, about the tools that are automating a lot of the simple processes that used to be rote stuff that our people would manually input. And I understand Right Networks is rolling out some tools to help with that.
Yeah, certainly. I think this idea of transformation, you've got to sort of free up time that you're spending doing things that aren't particularly valuable to do new valuable things and offer new services. So really, the need to access data and make it available quickly is something that takes a lot of time today for advisors and for their clients. So at Right Networks, we've been focused on building an applications ecosystem that's enabled by data transfer. Today, an example would be just to get data into your QuickBooks solution generally is done largely manually. People are typing it in, they may have it in spreadsheets, it may be in other applications, but increasingly what we've been doing is investing in technology that automates that for people. So they can, using Transaction Pro as an example, they can import Excel spreadsheets data or CSV data directly into their QuickBooks software.
Right Networks has been very successful over a long time, hosting QuickBooks Desktop. And with the acquisition of Auto Phi and T-Pro, you're moving ahead into a broader area.
No question. I think, this idea behind that animated those acquisitions was building a QuickBooks Desktop ecosystem, kind of an application-centric view, which is our customers and their clients need applications integration with QuickBooks Desktop. But I think it's opening up a lot of new avenues for us also. I think we're thinking more about trying to drive use cases, enhanced workflows, beyond what's today just move data from here to there. So we're investing behind webinars. I mean, you do a lot of these, Roman, now, right? So you're a relative new add to the Right Networks team that came through our Eccentric acquisition a year and a half ago now. So I feel like we're trying to continue to build not just our technology chops and the core technology that enables all this, which is really our roots. We're moving beyond that to try to better understand the needs of our customers in all that they do in their daily work as they're transitioning from transactional services toward advisory services. So driving thought leadership, webinars, security, application usage, data transfer, these are all topic areas that I think we're trying to explore increasingly and share with the audience, our customers and prospects, to enable them to be better at what they're doing every day.
I understand a lot of our clients already use Transaction Pro to take data from virtually any kind of accounting product and bring it into QuickBooks in that format. But Auto Phi has something that does it 24 always on. Can you kind of summarize what that is?
Sure, and I think that the beauty of Transaction Pro is pretty much every application will dump you data in a CSV. So if you're typing data in from any application, you could be doing that with Transaction Pro more rapidly, save yourself time. That being said, you still have to do the work. Right? You've got to export from application X, you've got to find the CSV, you've got to import it to QuickBooks using Transaction Pro. Still a big savings over manual. However, most of what's happening is data is being taken out of applications that needs to be in QuickBooks. And what Auto Phi does is provide APIs that allow these application developers to automatically synchronize their data directly to QuickBooks. So the user doesn't have to do anything. For example, Expensify is a time and sort of expense management application a lot of people use. A lot of those same people are using QuickBooks. They like to have that data just transfer from the person who's in the field, putting their expenses in. I'm in Salt Lake right now. I'm putting my expenses in while I'm on the road. I don't want that data in QuickBooks back at the HQ automatically. It shouldn't have to be put into a file and imported. So Auto Phi allows the application developer, in this case Expensify, immediately deliver data into the QuickBooks file for Right Networks. So really all that manual process and even the human interaction or human intervention necessary to make that happen disappears, and the applications talk to each other seamlessly. And what that means for our clients, their data can be synchronized 24/7. So QuickBooks to all their third-party applications, hundreds of applications, and to the independent software vendors who wrote those applications, it allows them to lower their costs to support QuickBooks Desktop users in our cloud.
I think another point about all this automation that we're talking about is when I was getting certified in robotic process automation, a lot of the tools were very high level, almost run by data scientists.
Right.
But we're looking at this next generation tools, and they're almost like consumer grade, or the term that I've been hearing people banter about is, citizen data scientists. And so if you think about when Excel entered into the accounting profession,
Yeah.
it changed everything from doing manual, 17-column work papers to doing it online. And so we see these as being kind of the next generation of consumer-grade tools. So would you consider Transaction Pro and Auto Phi consumer-grade to where a traditional client services person could use those effectively?
I certainly think Transaction Pro is, absolutely. So I think if you have sort of an Excel, if you can use Excel, you can use Transaction Pro, right? You know what fields you're looking for, you know what data you're trying to get from column A to, column B kind of stuff. So that follows that paradigm very directly. So I think broadly applicable, right? Everybody who is using QuickBooks or using Excel can be using Transaction Pro and should be.
Yeah.
Probably saves them a bunch of time and money. I think Auto Phi, think about it a little more as an integration platform where the integration happens at the application levels.
Yep.
Or layers. And then really when you set it up, so as a user, the user configuration is quite simple.
Okay.
Right? So that's where it's saying, hey, I want to synchronize data between these two applications. What's the periodicity? Is it every hour? Is it every 2 days? Whatever, that kind of stuff. And when you set it up, you can map the fields. So in very similar fashion, I need column A to go to column B kind of stuff. You set that up once. So the same kind of Excel, mindset qualifies you, I would say, to be a citizen data
scientist.
using
That's what they kind of
Transaction Pro and or Auto Phi.
And that works really great for our clients who have applications, but what about like the independent software vendors that are out there that are writing applications specific to QuickBooks Desktop?
Yeah, two big benefits for ISVs who use Auto Phi. The first is integrating with a classic REST-based web API.
Okay.
Right? So modern API that allows transfer of data. And that's not true in the desktop world. You've got old SDKs and wacky stuff that's really hard to work with. So super simple to use modern APIs, number one. Second, and probably more importantly, what most software vendors have seen is higher cost to onboard and support users of desktop software. Because all kinds of things go wrong, it's not turned on. You get support calls from people who say, gee, my data didn't synchronize, my data's out of whack from what I thought I had. We have people in the field, and their data didn't make it into the general ledger. So many of those problems, most of those problems are caused by, I wasn't logged in.
Okay.
And the third-party application tried to transfer data, but it couldn't because I wasn't logged in. So, and people like Right Networks that are hosters of QuickBooks Desktop haven't solved this problem to date either. So even if you're hosted, if you're not logged in, you get logged out for security reasons pretty quickly in most hosting environments.
Yep.
So really to have 24/7 synchronization of data allows for lower cost onboarding and support for ISVs. And we're seeing tremendous interest and support from the ISVs that we've been working with on Auto Phi, that they're seeing significant benefits in lowered costs for QuickBooks Desktop users.
That's awesome. And what I'm seeing in my practice, I'm in about 30 firms a year, and they are in that transition, getting away from what was spreadsheets and spreadsheet dashboards, that were created, to using tools like the APIs, to data transfer tools like Transaction Pro, and then we're moving forward into kind of that next generation you hear everyone talking about with artificial intelligence and machine learning,
Right.
And early steps of robotic process automation. And it sounds like Auto Phi can do a lot of those middle steps, and it's part of the natural transition process for our clients.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, we're hearing we're all going to be replaced by robots, and it's all big data and get out of the way, and all the accountants are out of business, right? And that's clearly not true. There's a lot happening, and I think we generally get ahead of ourselves from even as a technologist for my career. We like to talk about the thing that's next. What's now is things like Transaction Pro and Auto Phi that can help automate processes that are happening now and dramatically improve people's productivity. At the core of that is data. And I do think that, to feed the AI bots of the future, or whether it's next week or 10 years from now, it's the data.
Yep.
And it's not just the data from one client, right? Generally, to have any kind of AI ML approach, you need a lot of data to train some kind of artificial intelligence algorithms on, right? So I think what we expect to see is using something like Auto Phi and other technologies, liberating the data that's in, we have 150,000 plus users at Right Networks. They have 5 QuickBooks files each or something, so we've got whatever, 500,000, 1 million plus company files, right, within our infrastructure. So imagine the richness of that data, just so an advisor can help their specific client understand how they stack up against others, other people in their industry. You know, how fast are they growing? What's their inventory turnover look like? I mean, those are the kinds of things that are really going to help provide advisory services to clients today, and we think that's possible by liberating that data. Right now, we're still stuck a little bit in the reporting what happened, and you know, the promise of AI ML is we can predict the future and get ahead of that, and I'd say we're on that path, and by having data available to create reports that start to become predictive and can be comparative across within, if I'm the dog groomer example, you know, what's best practices on number of scheduled slots that are left open at the end of every week or something, right? How am I trying to drive the yield of my scheduling, my dog grooming? I have no idea what that is, but there are, you know, probably 10,000 dog groomers.
Yep.
And if you knew how you stacked up against others, it could really be helpful. So I think for advisors, getting access to data specific to their clients, yes, but also the first thing we can do is get data across industries and share that so best practice can be developed and then delivered.
You know, I'm in a lot of firms, and the question that comes up more often than not is, especially in light of the breaches that happened recently, how is the cloud more secure than me doing IT and security internally in my own firm?
Well, doing it in your own firm is maybe dangerous at this point, given what's happening in the industry. I think it's impossible to hire and retain the kind of security trained personnel you'd need at a firm to do it yourself. And certainly in the cloud, people like Right Networks are investing tremendously behind this because it's part of the value we bring. We need to protect you from the threats that are out there, and being in the cloud with Right Networks is a much safer path to success than taking it on yourself.
Joel, as our profession transitions almost entirely to the cloud, where do you see Right Networks as a company, and where do we stand in the market today?
We see ourselves as the leading accounting-focused managed service provider for accounting professionals, firms, and SMBs, right? So I think that historically we're known as the hosters for QuickBooks Desktop, and that's a giant part of our business. So we have over 150,000 users, continue to grow rapidly, of QuickBooks Desktop in our cloud. We have thousands of CPA firm clients at this point, and we really continue to drive a breadth of offerings for them, firms, pro advisors, and their clients, their SMB clients, in order for them to realize automation, higher productivity, and business improvement.
And I heard we have some unique relationships with some of the other top vendors out there. How has that helped us?
I think that's the accounting-focused piece,
Yep.
right? So it really is, if we're just an IT shop, right, there are a lot of hosters who host legal stuff and accounting stuff and who knows, construction things and people in healthcare and so forth. And I think if you're sort of selling servers and server time, that's interesting. We're much more focused exclusively within accounting, which means we have relationships, deep relationship with Intuit, with CCH, with Thomson Reuters. So the leading vendors in the space, whether it's accounting software, increasingly tax software, we have relationships with those vendors so we can deliver solutions in the cloud that we think are certainly best in class, and are supported by a combination of Right Networks and that application provider that make us unique.
What do you see as the challenges that firms are facing out there today?
I think we see firms sort of looking at two things for their transition toward consultative services. One is changing to some extent their business model, right? Which I think is not something we get involved in too much directly with Right Networks, but I'd say it has to be supported by technology, which is where we come into play. And I think that means that automation has to happen throughout their business so they can free up time to deliver new services, right? Not do as many transactional services, deliver planning and business advisory services. So we look to technology enable that through providing cloud solutions that allow them to save time on the important but not value-add pieces that they're trying to transition from and get them going onto data and new applications that allow them to deliver new services.
So Joel, as we talk about this transformation of our profession from being compliance-oriented to more consultative as trusted advisor, what's Right Networks doing to help our clients?
We're investing in products, I think, that we can put into our cloud that drive automation. So Transaction Pro and Auto Phi are good examples of those, allowing data transfer to happen, and in general, enabling a platform, a cloud platform, which gives data rapidly to the users so they can put their brain power behind it.
Yeah.
And it's not just delivering reports, but it's really enabling data availability First for the rearview mirror, and in the future, looking forward.